afternoon, friends. Today we begin the story of Jesus doing his ministry, which means he's preaching and teaching and healing the sick. When Jesus began his public ministry of teaching and healing the sick, he traveled through Israel, visiting many different places. And here is a map of Jesus' ministry. If you remember from the maps that I gave you, Capernaum, Galilee, Cana, Nazareth. So he basically traveled all the way from Nazareth to Jericho, Judean desert, where he was tempted, up again, and did all his ministry right there. And some of you may remember my story from second grade when I went to Israel. I visited most of these places that I'm going to be showing you right now. Then I'll show you more slides later. We visited Bethlehem, where Jesus was born. Nazareth. Now, do you think it looked like that when Jesus was alive? No, this is new. The Sea of Galilee. Look how green the grass looks, and the water is so calm. We actually sat on this boat to reflect. So here's my picture with my friends that traveled with me. It was a very hot day, very, very hot, but it kind of felt good being on the lake. Here we are. Swimming in the Sea of Galilee, my friend. I took her picture and she took mine. And this is a synagogue where Jesus did his preaching and teaching. The town of Capernaum. We stopped there for lunch. Why am I saying all these things? Let's start off by talking about friends. How many friends do you have? What do you do with your friends? How do you treat your friends? Well, Jesus did not work by himself. He had 12 friends, special friends, that helped him along the way, called disciples, also known as apostles. Here they are. He chose 12 men to be his disciples. They were normal people with normal jobs, but God had a special plan for them. Jesus taught the disciples the Bible, how to pray, and how to obey God. And one day, Jesus told his disciples to go out and share his special message and with others. They were to go to homes and villages, share the good news, and perform miracles. Here are their names: Peter, Andrew, James, and John, Philip, Thomas, Matthew, Bartholomew, also Nathaniel, James the Less, Simon, Thaddeus, and Judas. Now, here are my slides that I'm going to share with you, telling a quick story. Before I start, I have a question. Have you ever played the game Follow the Leader? I have. One person is the leader and everyone else follows. Whatever the leader does, every follower copies and does exactly the same. The followers wanted to be like the leader. His disciples wanted to be just like John the Baptist and do and say things just like him. Andrew and Simon Peter were brothers and fishermen. They were also disciples of John the Baptist. When Jesus began his ministry, he asked people to follow him and become his disciples. One day when he was walking by the Sea of Galilee, he saw Andrew and Simon Peter casting their nets to catch fish. Jesus called out to them and said, "Follow me, and I'll make you fishers of men." Going on, they saw two other brothers, James and John, mending their nets with their father Zebedee. Jesus called them and said, "Follow me." James and John left their boat and their father and began to follow Jesus. Jesus' group of followers was growing. Now, Jesus had 4 disciples to begin with: Peter, Andrew, James, and John. On his way to Galilee, Jesus found Philip and invited him to come along too. Philip went to find his friend Nathanael. Nathanael, we found the one that Moses wrote about in the scripture. He is Jesus from Nazareth. When Nathanael met Jesus, he was very surprised. He had never met Jesus before, but Jesus knew all about him. His other name was Bartholomew. Jesus called others to follow him. Matthew was a tax collector in the town of Capernaum. Tax collectors were often cheaters, but Jesus knew that Matthew had a good heart. When Jesus said, "Matthew, come follow me," Matthew got up from the table and began following Jesus. Jesus invited others to follow him. Soon James, called James the Less because he was younger than the other James, and Thomas followed Jesus. Another Simon, Thaddeus, and Judas Iscariot. More and more people became disciples or followers of Jesus. Even though many followed Jesus, 12 men were with him almost all the time. This group of 12 men became known as the 12 apostles. Jesus gave them special jobs to do and special powers to make sick people well and to cast out demons.